Well, Kenny had finished 2-1 to Liverpool this afternoon against Tottenham Hotspur. A deserved victory, as you mentioned at the end of our commentary. What was different about Liverpool today, the kind of Liverpool performance that we didn't see in the last two defeats against Nottingham Forest and Leeds United?
Well, I think first of all, Steve, you have to factor in the manner of the Spurs' performance first half. It was as poor as I've seen from any team this season, way off the pace, made it far too easy for Liverpool. That said, I thought Liverpool, the kind of system functioned very well. Then the conversation before the game was Liverpool maybe have to find a slightly new way forward in terms of personnel and even kind of systems. We saw a bit of that today. Liverpool playing with kind of a 4-4-2, diamond in midfield, and Darwin Núñez and Mo Salah up front. At times, I'd argue maybe playing the splits strikers, maybe about 20, 30 yards apart. And I thought it worked very well. Mo Salah looked so comfortable there. Darwin Núñez, we know, is a central striker. He's kind of reasonably happy there. But Mo Salah, we're so used to seeing him operating off the right-hand side of a front three for Liverpool. But he looks so at ease in that kind of central attacking role. Very comfortable receiving the ball into feet, linking things up. Doesn't have to do as much running, Stephen, off the ball as is required of him in that kind of wide position. And of course, the beauty of him playing as a central striker is invariably when Liverpool win possession and move up the pitch, he's getting the ball closer to the opposition goal in those central areas of the pitch and around the opposition penalty box. And when he gets the ball at his feet, 20, 25 yards from goal, and that, particularly on that left foot, and he doesn't get closed down, as we saw today, he's absolutely lethal.
I suppose a big key factor in that as well, we might come back to Mo Salah, but just the defensive partnership there between Virgil van Dijk and Konate. I mentioned as well during the game that Konate, this is the first time this season he's had back-to-back games. We know he's a really top quality centre half. Is it a case now, and look, it's not an ideal time because we have the break now for the World Cup, but when Liverpool come back after the World Cup break, is to try and get those two players playing as often as possible together?
Yeah, maybe so, but it wasn't too long ago, say maybe 2 weeks ago, people were having the conversation, the partnership of Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk, and referring back to them two as a pair that maybe a year and a half ago prior to those big injuries which they received as being the best in the Premiership and possibly in Europe. And Gomez started the season very well when he came into the team initially. There's been a couple of mistakes since, but I think you're right. I think towards the end of last season, I think most Liverpool supporters would have said, if you had asked them who's your preferred central defensive partnership, they probably would have leaned towards Konate to play alongside Van Dijk for the obvious reasons in terms of his athleticism, kind of pace, strong defender, good in the air, a little bit different to Joel Matip's different attributes, and probably hasn't made as many mistakes in that area of the pitch as Joe Gomez. So yeah, I think you're right, potentially going forward he keeps his fitness. That's a partnership I think you'll see Klopp keep together as the season goes on, because Liverpool need to find a run of results now. It's no good finding a win kind of here or there, Stephen. You know, they're playing catch up, the teams above them, particularly those Champions League places. But this is a start today. It was a very good first half performance, came under pressure second half. Tottenham came at them, and Liverpool looked maybe a little bit fragile defensively. Saw their qualities from an attacking point of view in that first half, but probably from a defensive point of view, probably not as solid in that central area of the pitch. The presence of Thiago and Elliott, we know how good they are in possession, not so dominant out of possession. So again, they're the things that Jurgen Klopp's kind of wrestling with kind of going forward in terms of trying to get the balance right in this Liverpool midfield. But you're right, the partnership of Van Dijk and Konate looks solid today, and certainly Salah's position, that central area higher up the pitch, I thought were the bonuses from the game today.
Do you think, would you be confident as if you were a Liverpool supporter that diamond would be the best way for them to progress for the rest of the season? Defensively, does it make them a bit better, do you think? Or do you think that as the season progresses, teams might start to pick holes in that particular formation?
Yeah, I mean, I've played that diamond formation myself when I played. It's very good when you're in possession. You get a lot of players in that central area of the pitch, what Liverpool did, with Thiago coming central, Harvey Elliott coming in there, Fabinho and Firmino off the front. So plenty of little combinations you can get in possession, and Liverpool have some very good technical players. Our possession, when you give up possession, it's a little bit different. You're leaving yourself a little bit open on the sides, and it puts a lot of pressure on the likes of Thiago and Harvey Elliott in those kind of slightly narrow midfield positions. And like I said, I'd question those two a little bit in terms of their defensive qualities. So yeah, that'll be an interesting one going forward. I don't think that's the ideal fit in terms of Liverpool's midfield, but I like the fact it gets Firmino in a position off the front too, in that number 10 pocket where he's very good, where he excelled. Wasn't at his best today, you pointed out, unusually for him, but at least it gets Darwin Núñez and Mo Salah in a partnership high up the pitch where they both want to be. And we saw just little bits bits today, little bit of combination play between them two, which was very encouraging. But it was just the clinical finishing of Mo Salah and that central area of the pitch that you looked at today and saw, wow, well, we might have a couple of deficiencies a little bit further down the pitch, but if we can get him in those central areas more often than often, excuse me, and get good quality into his feet around the box, Mo Salah more often than not is going to score more than he misses.
Yeah, and just on that combination, and because I mentioned as well, it is a bit of a throwback having the little and large combo up front with the two strikers. And I suppose really over the course of the season, they haven't had a chance to play a good few games together. There's been no consistency there really. You know, for whatever reasons, Klopp maybe has left Nunez on the bench for some games. He obviously had that suspension earlier in the season. So in the second half, is that a partnership you think that could really produce a lot of goals for Liverpool?
Well, my gut feeling tells me it's going to be kind of short term, because I think with this system, when you play kind of narrow midfield and two up top, when the likes of Jota and Diaz get themselves fit, it's very hard to get them into the team in this formation. If you're talking about Salah and Darwin Núñez down the mid, where's Jota and Diaz going to come into the team? Both of them and Roberto Firmino are probably going to compete for that one remaining position just off the front too. So I think when those other two players come back, for me, you probably see Liverpool lean back towards their orthodox 4-3-3, where they can get three forwards across the pitch, high up the pitch, and go with more of an orthodox kind of three central midfielders in there. I still think potentially that's the way forward for Liverpool, but I can understand it at the moment with the players they have out injured. It kind of makes sense to me pushing Núñez and Salah together higher up the pitch, and then just doing the best that you can with what's left over in that central midfield area. It's not perfect. It was better today first half, but again second half they came under the caution. They gave up a little bit in that midfield area of the pitch kind of second half. So that's not an easy one for Jurgen Klopp to marry up between now and the end of the season. It will help, of course, getting players back from injury. Every manager will say that. But I still think he has a job on in terms of formation and personnel, in terms of who best complements each other, and getting that balance right between defensive solidity and attacking threat, which Liverpool have always had over the past kind of 4-5 years under Klopp. That's been their strength, being absolutely rock solid defensively and carrying a real threat and as an attacking force. So I still think they're searching for that and will be for some time going forward.
I feel a little bit sorry for the Tottenham players, because it seems that when games are going against them, and we know they've started slowly in matches all season, their first half performances have been really poor in a lot of games. But it seems that it doesn't take an awful lot for the supporters to either not get behind the team or for it to get a little bit toxic around the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which does seem a bit strange because they're in fourth position in the Premier League table, just a point behind third. They're into the last 16 of the Champions League. Antonio Conte's had a lot of injuries to deal with as well in this first part of the season, so maybe they need to cut the manager a little bit of slack.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they are cutting the manager a little bit of slack, but if that's symptomatic, that first half performance, we haven't seen every Spurs game this season, but if that first half performance is symptomatic of how they've been starting games, certainly of late openings part of the season, and I think you can understand a little bit of kind of frustration and a little bit of worry among Spurs support, saying, well, yeah, we are doing well on paper, it looks great for the reasons that you've said, Stephen, but they're looking at the team performance and thinking, we can't keep this going. Sooner or later we're going to get found out. So I can understand that as well. They need to do better. I'm a huge fan of Conte, don't get me wrong, by and large, but I felt as if he got it wrong today in terms of starting lineup. You saw the way they finished today with Matt Doherty and Perisic in those wing back positions, far better. Perisic looked far more comfortable out there. Even Kulusevski in that central area alongside Kane. Just don't feel as if he got a start at 11 tonight. By the time that they did, they got themselves going, they got a bit of momentum, got a bit of sustained pressure on the Liverpool penalty area. It was a little bit too little too late from a Tottenham perspective. They have to fix that. You can't just turn up for 45 minutes in this Premier League against quality opposition. You're going to get found out. And if they don't solve that problem quickly, whether it's a mentality thing or even in terms of Conte, how he kind of rotates the team, they need to find that fix pretty soon. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves out of that top four. They're not going to be able to sustain the top four challenge. We're kind of being as inconsistent as they are in terms of performances.
And just on the Matt Doherty, Emerson Royale debate, and obviously you think Doherty is the better man to have in there. I'm just trying to think of Conte's reasoning, because we have seen Doherty put in good performances when he has been called upon, and he was praised for Conte a week after criticising him. But has he seen Doherty maybe not just in Spurs games but for Ireland as well, showing some defensive weaknesses, and that he maybe thinks Emerson Royale is a better defender? I don't know. Do you think Emerson Royale is a
He
better
might
defender?
think that. I certainly don't. We all understand Matt's strengths is certainly in his attack and play. That's always been the case. We saw that Wolves in terms of you're talking about stats there in terms of goals, assists. Matt's record at Wolves was absolutely phenomenal. And we've seen a bit of that in the Spurs jersey as well. Yeah, is he as strong from the defensive side to his game? No. But if you're telling me Emerson Royale is rock solid defensively, I certainly wouldn't agree with that either. I think he's very loose in that respect, and actually going forward gives you very little in terms of product in the last third of the pitch. And this system Spurs are playing, play a wing-back system. You have to get that with that bit of penetration down the sides from your wing-backs. You haven't got a winger in front of you, so you're very much dependent on those wing-backs, like he was at Inter Milan, with Perisic to an extent play there, Hakimi as right wing-back. They were absolutely crucial in terms of the success that he had at Inter Milan. He's not going to get that from Emerson Royale, so I'm really surprised it's taken him this long. We spoke about how well Matt finished the season. I know he was injured for the last couple of games, but prior to that, it looked as if he'd found his feet. I actually thought defensively he was looking as solid as he has been in terms of his general play, and we all know the quality that he brings in terms of as an attacking threat. So for me, that's an obvious one. I don't see that. You're talking about kind of Dublin allegiance, and we want to see all our own do well. Of course we do, but I can park that to the side. What I'm saying, he has to play in this team now, because he gives them far more from an attacking point of view, and I don't see any type of drop off in terms of his defensive qualities as well. And I think Spurs benefited from that when he made the substitutions. Perisic as well. I mean, Perisic can play everywhere. He's a bit of a monster. He done okay in that central area, but he looked a little bit out of sorts with his back to play. Far more comfortable receiving the ball wide on the left and driving at Alexander-Arnold, getting crosses and arriving late at the back post. So yeah, just those little tweaks, those substitutions, those alterations that Conte made just came a little bit too late for Tottenham.
The one thing in football, Kenny, is that generally the team with the better players will get the result. And just looking at those two teams today, you're looking at the Liverpool centre-backs, and you're looking at Van Dijk, and you're looking at Konate, and you're thinking, like, these guys are proper top-quality centre-halves. Then you look at the Tottenham team, and you see Clement Longley, who was, discarded by Barcelona. You've got Eric Dyer there, a man who's, I don't know, he just seems at best an average centre-half. And Ben Davies, who, he's played wing-back, he's played centre-half. I'm not sure really what his proper defensive position is. And you just think over the course of the season, not having that top-quality centre-back in there. Christian Romero, we know, is good, but he just can't stay fit.
Yeah, but I think this is where the improvement's going to come. I think if you ask Conte in a year for 18 months, does he see that back three, are going to be his back three going forward? He's saying, no, look, they're out Romero today. I've said it already. He's by far their best defender, most impressive defender in that back three. He wasn't available today. Doyle had to be shifted out to play right side of the three. He's at his best when he's playing kind of centrally. He didn't look overly comfortable out there. Not the quickest thing over two legs. Got a bit exposed in that first half when we won against Darwin Núñez. Lenglet, I think, is a decent skin. Ben Davies kind of trustworthy, probably ideally more suited to playing left back in an orthodox left back position. So I think he knows he can improve in that area of the pitch. Linked with a couple of players in the summer, and that area of the pitch didn't happen. So I think kind of short to medium term, I think I'd be very surprised if you don't see Tottenham spend again in that area of the pitch. So I'd agree with you. I think they're probably one short across that defensive line. Romero is a big step up in terms of qualities he has as a defender. I think they need to find another one, maybe to play the left side where Davies was playing today, with Doherty in the middle. Now that looks a lot stronger for me, but that's the kind of progression I think Conte's talking about in terms of, I need backing, I need more money, I need to improve this squad. I think you're seeing the reasons there in those areas of the pitch and kind of those central defensive areas. Maybe another one in central, maybe a wing back. I wouldn't necessarily say high up the pitch. Got some good options up there now with Richarlison, Son, Kane, etc. More Kulusevski is a wonderful player coming back from injury, so they're well served in the forward areas of the pitch. But yeah, it's not perfect at the moment. They are a work in progress. But I think there's a window of opportunity for Spurs this year, as there is for the likes of Newcastle, Arsenal, etc. Even Manchester United Champions League. Chelsea are having a wobble. Liverpool are certainly having a wobble. So there's a real opportunity there for a number of those teams. Traditionally, you wouldn't have expected maybe to make that jump to Champions League football. Newcastle, in particular, that I'm talking about here. Manchester United, not too many people talking about Champions League football at United start to the season, but I think there's an opportunity for them as well. The defeat against Aston Villa hurts them in that respect today. But yeah, like I said, for a number of the teams there, there's still a long way to go. And there's real ambition to go and grab one of those Champions League places.
So just ask you finally, Kenny, because Arsenal got the win away to Arsenal again, or sorry, away to Chelsea. Again, another match where everybody's thinking going into this, okay, this is a real tester for Arsenal's title credentials, and they've come through it. They won 1-0, and they were very, very good.
Yeah.
Do you think they are serious title challengers now?
Oh, they are. I think they are. I think they are, no doubt about it. And that was another big challenge today. I dragged myself out with scratch this morning, made sure I get in to watch that game at 12 o'clock, because you're right, that was a test for them. Look, it's not a Chelsea team that's absolutely forward, and you could argue they're a little bit of transition themselves. Potter searching a little bit in terms of formation and person. Maybe it's a little bit like Klopp to a certain extent, but still a test for that Arsenal team to go there today. Weren't at their best, Arsenal, in some respects, in terms of free-flowing football, but in the areas of the game where they needed to be rock solid today, they were. And I'm talking about that kind of defensive mentality and the defensive just qualities really collectively as a team. And they showed that today at various stages during the game, particularly kind of maybe last 10-15 minutes, where you felt as if, right, we have to hold on, we have to sit in now, and we have to keep this kind of clean sheet. Arsenal teams in the past, we know that wouldn't have given up, but they had that kind of soft centre, would have given up a goal. But you saw today, William Saliba in particular, central defence, absolutely outstanding. Partey, that kind of shield in front, immense as well. But collectively, mentality from the whole team, it was great to see. And that Arsenal have been searching that for such a long time in terms of that defensive structure and the kind of almost defensive kind of mindset. And we've seen it. We've seen it this season. That's why they're in the position that they are top of the league. And I think they can maintain it. I think their squad isn't as strong, isn't as deep as Manchester City, so maybe that's the argument you could make. One or two key injuries. We know Partey's liable to pick up an injury here and there. He has done. You lost him for a significant chunk of the season. You'd worry. You lost Saliba at centre half. It'd be a big worry. But certainly, if they have a little bit of luck in terms of injury, in terms of keeping the spine of that team fit, I think so. I think they can last a distance.
Great stuff, Kenny. Thank you.